Think. Are you bored? So I'm going to make this video that's going to be more content in terms of like spoken content than video content based, because as you can see, it is kind of crappy outside. I mean, it's really not that bad. It's just a little bit cold, and like if it gets to where the raindrops are kind of heavier, and you kind of want to hurry inside. But I lived in Oregon for about 35 years, unfortunately. Haha. And so this is really no biggie to me. It's fairly uncommon here, I guess, in Los Angeles County. And so the cat was like, checking out the outside. Like he thinks he wants to go out there, but I don't know. I left them the other day because I had to go and they wouldn't come inside. And one of them got stuck in this weird, like, I don't know, it was like a hole leading to the basement, and it was not very fun in there. And every time he tried to come out, it would drip on him. So it was like, it sucked for him, but it was like kind of funny. I feel kind of bad laughing, but it was still just like he was in a predicament and he just couldn't come out because it was just too much for him. So I was like, well, I gotta go. I had to go to work. So I left, and the two of them were outside like pretty much for until 3, like from about 8 till about 3, like, and then so when I finally did come back, like he learned his lesson. He was all trying to get snuggles and stuff for like a long time after that. But anyway, I'm going to focus this video on this beautiful, I think it's beautiful. I'm kind of used to seeing the beauty in the mundane, I guess. But particularly in the case kind of the national situation, international situation, with COVID-19 kind of like becoming this big, huge deal, and all the stores like running out of food and the stock market crashing. I mean, this is like totally like the apocalypse, right? And so glad that I moved to Los Angeles, because this is like one of the worst places to be in an apocalypse. But at least it's raining, so there's water. Anyway, I wanted to share with you an I Ching reading that I just did, and I just was like, I think it felt like to me like the whole reading was really relevant to the national situation. Sorry, I keep saying national. I mean international, the global situation. So I just thought that I would read this and just share it while giving you a view of this beautiful wheelbarrow, which reminds me of a pond that I grew up near when we first moved to Oregon. We lived on some property in the country, and it's just such a lovely thing to have a body of water nearby. So there's my little pond. Okay, so the I Ching, the first hexagram was called Before Completion, and I didn't copy the Chinese character or the name just because I did copy paste to save the reading. So I just don't have that for you. But so before completion, the summary is the transition from chaos to order depends upon your achieving true inner calm. And I won't go into personal details, but I am going through a personal upheaval. Let's just put it that way. And also weathering the apocalypse solo too. So, which is part of the personal upheaval. I'm sure you can kind of guess and infer. Anyway, so before completion, the image of this hexagram is that of spring, a time when the darkness and decay of winter are about to give way to the light and plenty of summer. The transition is not yet complete. Here it depends upon you strengthening your clarity, calm, and conscientiousness. Wei Che, that might be the name of the symbol, often comes as an indication that we have not yet achieved a genuine inner equanimity. As long as we respond to outer pressures with our egos by worrying, desiring, or becoming aggressive, we cannot attain a successful repose. The I Ching reminds us now to abandon the hysterics of the ego in favor of acceptance, modesty, and inner balance. Wei Qi denotes a time of great responsibility. In a very real sense, it can be said that the state of the world depends upon your thoughts and conduct now. The external world will only come into order if the inner world has done so. Therefore, seek now to correct whatever in yourself is at odds with the principles of the sage. Quiet your ego, make humility and acceptance your primary goals, and move forward like a fox walking on ice, cautiously, deliberately, and gently. By persevering in what is true and good, you build the foundation upon which good fortune can come to rest. And then this is my favorite part of any reading that I do with the I Ching. You'll get these extra little nuggets at the end of the hexagram that you throw, and they're usually a lot more specific, so I like them. Sometimes I even skip through stuff just to get to them a little bit, but not in this case. I thought this whole thing was good. So the first line says, there is a temptation to try to make rapid progress. An unbalanced enthusiasm only leads to failure and humiliation. Innocent non-action is advised at this time. And I thought that was, the whole thing, as you probably can tell, is really relevant as I'm going through this. And you'll see that as I complete it, it's all really relevant to the situation in the world today. But it kind of fascinates me. It's like non-action. I mean, we're all, a lot of us are confined to our houses, and we can't, like, all the bars and restaurants just closed as of this morning in Los Angeles County. As per the mayor, he ordered it to try to control the spread of the virus. And so, like, all these restaurants and bars are going to totally go out of business because they can't survive on, like, takeout orders only, which is going to really be that's going to contribute to like some kind of economic apocalypse. Anyway, so we're kind of forced into this situation of non-action. Fourth line, in times of struggle, perseverance on the path is everything. To waver from what is correct in thought or action is to risk losing all that you have gained. Fifth line, the superior person is steadfast in the ways of the sage and thus meets with unqualified success. And by the sage, the I Ching is talking about, like, the creative force of the universe, the flow, the Tao, right? Okay, and then the next hexagram was called inner truth. Through openness and gentleness, the correct solution is reached. Arriving at the correct solution is a difficult situation requires a receptivity to inner truth. Unless we're willing to put aside the strong emotions of our egos and devote ourselves to discovering what is right, there can be no hope of progress at this time. Help only comes when we invite it with a sincere and innocent attitude. The I Ching teaches a simple but effective method of influencing difficult people and arduous situations. It advises us first to lay aside our prejudices, our feelings of being wounded, angry, or in the right. And second, to seek to understand the positions of others and the lesson that the sage is teaching us within the situation. Even when another is truly out of line, it is only by accepting this and remaining balanced that you make it possible for positive change to occur. Gentleness and understanding create in others an unconscious willingness to be led. The superior person therefore avoids the use of anger and force in trying times, knowing that they only prolong conflict. It is far wiser to accept that each experience we have is necessary for us to learn something about ourselves and about the higher laws of life. The greatest openings come when we meet difficulty with acceptance, gentleness, and a desire to understand the lesson underneath. I don't really totally know the whole story, of course. I don't know that any one of us does as to what's going on right now, but I revisited some of the Q material and some of the videos, even of just Trump talking and him talking about, like, how he took the job as president in order to take down the deep state cabal. And, depending on what you believe, I know that this country is primarily, it seems like, really against him, or maybe it seems like that, maybe it's not. But I am aware that there's a lot of consistencies between some of the things that I've heard him say, and especially in these collected videos. You can go and check them out if you'd like on qmap.pub. That's qmap.pub, qmap.pub. I highly recommend it, actually. It's, I think that there is definitely a lot going on under the surface of things. And I tend to kind of like not really go along with these kinds of big emergencies, that are manufactured in a lot of ways by the mainstream corporate media, primarily because that media is owned by corporations with a profit motive, who have very destructive practices and who often are responsible for destroying ecology and putting people into poverty, causing war, prolonging war, all kinds of stuff. So whatever you believe, I don't want to get into a political debate. I wanted to offer some Taoist peace and wisdom in these trying times. But it's fascinating to consider, that maybe this isn't really the negative thing that it seems like. Maybe it's a catharsis, or what do you call it? Maybe catharsis isn't the right word. What do you call it when catalyst? Thank you, catalyst. Maybe this, I've always kind of thought of Trump as a catalyst. He stirs stuff up and makes change, and so maybe this whole thing is really an opportunity for us, all of us, to kind of take a fresh look at things. I mean, just even with the banking system the way it is, I mean, if you've watched any of the documentaries available on such topics, like Zeitgeist, etc., it's, I mean, I don't know. It's just a fascinating situation. Let's just put it that way. And so I would just like to leave you with this thought that perhaps it's not what it seems, and perhaps this is a chance for depth and growth, because we are in the situation that we're in as a I keep wanting to say country. I apologize for that. It's just a kind of, I'm thinking distracted. But as a planet, maybe this is one of the things that is kind of needs to happen in order to restructure, because sustainability is not kind of being taken seriously enough to preserve the life support system that this planet is. And so, but this has potential. This whole series of events has potential. Probably what'll happen is everything will just go back to normal pretty soon, and, la-di-da. But I'd like to think that in some minds, in a lot of us maybe, there's this kind of opening. And I'm gonna just leave you with that. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you did not get too bored by the wheelbarrow pond. And I'm sorry there's not too much else to video right now, but I kind of like it. All right, have a great rest of your Monday, the 16th of March, 2020.